Hi, this is Jennie Walker and welcome to Closet Conversations. Today I wanted to talk to you about cash flow and inventory management. One of the things that I did not understand fully when I went into business to open up this luxury consignment shop in Pasadena, California called Viden Luxury Consignment is the concept of cash flow and inventory management, which is actually kind of hilarious as I think back on it because I've had so many different retail jobs over the years, usually part-time or on the side or summer jobs. And I can't tell you how many times we did inventory. We took inventory. It was a big deal. It'd be hours and hours, and all the crew would come in and all the staff, and we'd have little, sheets of paper and pencils and have to, count things on every rack and every fixture. And, there were always markdowns to be done. And for some reason, I just did not think this applied to me. And mostly it's because before I was involved in luxury consignment, I was a reseller. And because I was reselling things out of my own closet, I didn't have any sense of urgency. There was no time needed. There was no big overhead to pay. There was none of that. So I literally just waited around and waited until somebody, came up with the right price for me, and then I'd sell it. And that was that. And I wasn't just going to give away my Louis Vuitton handbag to just anyone and for any price. And I always felt like because I had designer items or I had luxury items that I was just going to wait around indefinitely for someone to pay my price because I knew they were out there. I kept telling myself, this person's out there because I am this person and I know what I'm willing to pay. So I know that person's out there somewhere who's willing to pay, a premium or a higher price to get this particular item because it's just so fabulous, And that kind of thinking works well when you don't need the money, when there's no timeline, where it's something you're doing on the side. But that kind of thinking does not work well when you have overhead, when you have a cash flow situation you have to deal with it for a new business. And, it's just, we went into this thing. It's so funny to think back on it now because we're doing well now. So it's so hilarious to go back to the very beginning and think about all the things that we just didn't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, but I didn't have any thought about cash flow or inventory management. And my business partner, had a sense of it and just kind of felt like, well, things aren't moving very fast and things like that. And we would talk about it and I'm like, oh no, we just have to wait. And it took me, I'd say way too long to understand what he was talking about. Meaning it's wasted months. I mean, we wasted time not getting on top of the inventory management situation. And I'll give you an example. So again, hilarious when you think back on it. So my idea was, well, we should have a contract that's a year long. I mean, that'll give us ample time to find just the right person. It's hilarious to even say the words, to find the item, So, I mean, we researched every consignment shop in town and in Pasadena and in LA, and we said, well, how long are their contracts? And, we looked at all this, and I just kept saying, I think we should be different. We should take in things longer. I mean, we should be not like everyone else, and, just take our time to find just the right buyer. Oh my God, I actually said those words. So, needless to say, it's just pure ignorance, just totally naive about all of this. So, here we are in this store and we're faced with, paying our bills every month and looking at our sales. Obviously, you're building something from scratch. So you have different expectations, but, as we got into it, we kind of knew there was a problem just because there was so much inventory in the store. I mean, we got to the point where we were just jam-packed with stuff and it just wasn't moving out. And I'm like, well, it just takes a while to find the right buyer. And at this point, we weren't 100% online. Our inventory hadn't made it all up there yet. So we didn't have that bit of audience. But yeah, so that was a big deal. So, I always thought that I was going to go into the luxury consignment business or be in the resale business because I loved clothes. And that was the most important thing to me. And what I didn't realize is that my love of clothes, and my partner, my business partner likes to say, we don't have a clothing museum. He says, you just want to look at everything. You're actually sad when it leaves. And it's so true. I mean, I guess I really want a museum. I mean, that's really what I want. I want to just be able to look at it and admire it and appreciate it and on all of that. But sadly, I am not in the museum business. I'm in the clothing consignment business. So we made changes. We tweaked our contract. We went from 1 year to 6 months. Woohoo! It's a 6-month contract instead of a year. But I still wasn't doing my markdowns like I should have. So, we have a better contract, but, still things aren't like moving in and out. And, we're making money and we're growing, but, things are, kind of like there's some sort of like wall we've hit. And my business partner's like, you've got to move it. You got to move it because you just can't stare at it. You can't, you just can't sit here and, stare at these clothes. We got to move them. We got to move them. It's all about the movement. It's all about the cash flow. And, this was something that was a really hard thing for me to come to grips with, because I had been reselling my own personal things for so many years and I was attached to them. I mean, I have a very close attachment to my things. I mean, they have meaning to me, and had the ones that I sold, but I can tell you everything I bought, where I bought it, how much I paid, if it was full price, if it was on sale, if someone was with me, where I wore it, if I wore it more than once, did I get any compliments, do I have any pictures of me in it? Like, the entire history of that piece is like branded in my mind. And, so it's a very probably unnatural obsession with clothes, but that's a different podcast, like about my mom and how her love of clothes translated to my love of clothes and all of that. But anyway, from a practical side is, if you're going to open up a consignment shop, you are not in the clothing business in the sense of, oh, it's beautiful and I love beautiful dresses, and wouldn't this be sweet and lovely and wonderful thing to do? You are in the cash flow business and the inventory management business. And as enough time has passed, I feel like I could be selling anything. I could be selling widgets. I mean, I could be selling copiers. I could be selling cars. I could be selling washer and dryers. It just wouldn't matter, because whatever you're selling, you have to keep moving it, keep selling it, moving it in, moving it out, moving in, moving it out, so you can, pay your overhead and, pay all the things that you want to pay and to grow. And, I even thought that, customers wanted us to take our time and get more money. And that was so false. And it's, again, I was projecting my own ideas about how this should be running into how the real world works. I mean, nobody asked me to wait around. Nobody said, don't, wait until the 6 months to sell my clothes, or wait 12 months. They wanted money now. They wanted it to move now. And when they saw it moving and were getting checks, it made them, very excited, that they could get money for their clothes. And, there were like 1 or 2 people where I literally couldn't sell their clothes. I literally couldn't move their clothes. And, that made me very sad to be able to have to say, hey, I have all your clothes for you to pick up. And as much as we tried, we couldn't get them sold. And, part of that is just picking the wrong merchandise for the demographic that I'm in Pasadena, and not understanding. So part of it's my own fault, but, I didn't like making that call. And, clothes can get lost when there's too many. And we've actually downsized our inventory quite a bit in our store, and we've moved it out. We've moved it in storage. We've moved it off the floor, and to really give it a true boutique feel. But anyway, the cash flow part of this thing is so important. And we made some changes very, very early on when, something as simple as when you pay your consigners. So the first is just a magical day that everyone likes to get paid on the first. Bills come due on the first. Everything's about the first of the month. And so when we were just open a few months, and I was realizing I was paying all the consigners and the rent and the utilities and the this and the that, like everything was on the first. I'm like, how in the world are we going to function like this when everything's due on the first, and, and grow our business and have this cash flow? And one of the things early on is something as simple as we moved the date of the consignment payout from the 1st to the 15th. And so that one simple move was just this godsend for our cash flow. And so now you get paid on the 15th for the previous month's sales, which is also great because it also gives an opportunity if something gets returned online. We are final sale in our store, but online on eBay we allow 30-day return. So if something in a 14-day notice, so we know by the time that the check is due on the 15th, if those 15 days have passed or 14 days have passed, that we've been notified that there's going to be a potential return, and then that way we know not to pay the consignor and can be on the lookout for that one item or whatever it is. So that helps in that area as well. But inventory management. So the tricky part is being consistent with the markdowns in the store and online. And the way our system is set up, we are not able to integrate our online sales and our in-store sales together with the system that we use. And I know there are other systems out there and setups. We just don't have them. And in a perfect world, we would be able to set that. We've tried automatic markdowns where the markdowns are already on the tag, but that was really put off a lot of people. That we tried it like for about a week, and then I just stopped it. I mean, they'd look at a tag and they'd see, I'll just say $100, and then they see, well, in 30 days this is going to be 80, and in 60 days this is going to be 40 or whatever it's going to be. And I had literally had a woman hand me 2 things and go, I'll wait. And so after that happened, I'm like, no, psychologically, this is not a good idea to have the markdown on here, because it literally was prohibiting sales. It wasn't increasing the sale. It was like all these people were like, no, I'll just wait. And so I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So we'll let it be a little more mysterious when we're marking it down. And then when they look at the tag, they see what the price is without the future being right there in front of them. So that worked for us. So we changed that for in-store markdowns. And also the automatic markdowns in the system we got rid of as well. And so the software is sophisticated enough to just set it all up, and we got rid of that. We only had it up for like a very, very short period of time, like a couple of weeks, and we just realized that wasn't going to work either, because that's you basically leave money on the table in that sense. So what we decided was we would do it all on a schedule, but manually. So I would manually do those markdowns in the store, but then I would have to manually do those markdowns on eBay as well. And eBay's markdown system is not ideal by any means. The fact that our software can't integrate all of that together is, something we're looking into to see if there's an alternative. But for now, both of those markdown systems are having to be done separately and manually to keep that going. So that is such a huge part. And what's so interesting is there are days when I find myself, we've say all of the new merchandise has been processed, it's online, it's in the store, it's out for sale. So now what? I can pull this markdown book and I can go through and I can, see where something needs to be tweaked in the store with a markdown or online, and I'll go in there, make those changes, and then suddenly, there'll be activity in the online store, or something will move inside the store that hadn't before. And people are very, very conscious about getting a great deal, and getting a great deal for items that are luxury and designer. And it's really so important now that we've started being on top of this, and our sales have really improved as a result. The cash flow is flowing. Merchandise is heading in and heading back out the store. So the goal is how to do that even better, how to do that faster. What is it going to take? So we're researching what that's going to take so that we can continue to increase the volume and the speed at which items are selling in our store. So that's just a little something I wanted to talk about today as another part in the series on opening up a consignment shop. Is just to remember that the cash flow is so important what bills are due when you're paying your consigners, and moving that inventory in and out of your store and ensuring that it gets marked down in a timely manner, because there's always something else coming in. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Again, my name is Jennie Walker. I'm the owner of Jenniegirl's Closet and co-owner of Walker Viden Luxury Consignment in Pasadena. If you enjoyed this podcast, I hope that you will give it a wonderful 5-star rating and a review. I'm early in this podcast series, so those reviews and any rankings are really, really helpful. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Thank you.